Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? Let's get right into a prophecy alert. We know that President Donald Trump has declared that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. But before Donald Trump ever declared it, King David said it in Psalms 48. Okay? He said it's the city of our God. Jerusalem's the city of our God, the city of the great king. We also know that it was prophesied in the book of Zechariah. And it says that after Israel is attacked, and it looks like the city is about ready to fall apart, about ready to fall to the enemy, that the Lord will stand. If you go to Zechariah 14, verse 3, then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east, toward the west. There shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall be removed to the north, and half toward the south. Now, and ye shall flee into the valley of the mountains. He tells it the Jews will have to do some fleeing. There'll be also a major earthquake, it says, as in the days of Uzziah the king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee. Now this event, Zechariah 14, Jerusalem being attacked, half the city falling, the house is rifled, the women ravished, and it looks like they're going to go forth into captivity, but then the Lord returns and stands on the Mount of Olives. There's an earthquake, and the Mount of Olives is split in half. This has not happened yet. This prophecy has definitely not happened. I mean, you go with me if you want to Jerusalem. We'll go stand on the Mount of Olives. It's the same as it was when Jesus was there. Okay. It has not happened yet. Okay. That means this prophecy is for the last days. Now we can back that up easily. If you go with me out of Matthew 24, there's a couple things to watch for. The rebuilding of the third temple plays such a major role in biblical prophecy because we know, first of all, the building of the temple does two things. One, it will bring on the scene the two witnesses who'll be preaching in the streets of Jerusalem that Yeshua is the Messiah. They'll also bring great plagues upon the earth. They'll turn the water into blood, and all kinds of different things they will do as they're preaching Yeshua as the Messiah, and they're being threatened by the leaders of the world. But here's what Jesus said in Matthew 24. He was asking about the sign of his coming, the end of the world. What are the signs we should look for? He told us, he said, look, in Matthew 24, verse 4, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. You'll hear of wars, rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled. All these things must come to pass. The end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in divers places. Okay, we got that. Then, he says, then all of these are the beginning of sorrows. All right, so we're already seeing all of these things. He says, but then they're going to, some of you are going to be persecuted. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And we're seeing Christians being beheaded and persecuted and literally killed in 50 different countries of the world right now. The persecution is intensifying. Then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity abound, love many will wax cold. But get this. It says, but he that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And when this gospel of the kingdom is preached unto all the world for a witness unto all nations, then shall the end come. And when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place. So you go back to, of course, to Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. It talks about there'll be a covenant with many. And of course, this will bring about the abomination of desolation. So the temple will get built, and it will be for the glory of God, really. And it will help because once it's built and people come to see the temple, up on the Temple Mount. And of course, they want to build it. They've already got it pre-built. I've seen all the stuff that's going to go in it. They've already got it pre-built. And they even say they got the Ark of the Covenant preserved to bring out. Look, the witnesses are going to show up. That's what it says in Revelation chapter 11. They're going to start preaching, and they're going to have great power, and all this is going on. But at some point, the Antichrist also walks into that building and will declare that he is God, okay, before the worshipers of God. That's what it says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that the wicked one, the son of perdition, the evil one, okay, the lawless one, the Antichrist, Homo Satanas, half man, half Satan, with his sidekick, the false prophet, in the New World Order, the one world government. He will walk in, declare before the worshipers of God that he is God. Well, how do you know the worshipers of God are going to be in the third temple? Go with me back to Zechariah 14. It tells you they're going to be attacked. The Mount of Olives is going to split in half. All these things are going to happen. But look at verse 16. I'm in Zechariah 14:16. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, capital K-I-N-G, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Are you serious? And it shall be that whosoever will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, capital K-I-N-G, the Lord of hosts. That would be the Messiah. That is Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Yeshua. Even upon them shall be no rain. So look, Zechariah 14 has not happened yet, but it will during the days of the end times. And Matthew 24 tells you that the abomination of desolation is going to happen. In Mark 13, the abomination of desolation is going to happen. Look what Mark said. Mark says, and this is Mark 13:14. He was asked the same question. Jesus responds. He says, but when you shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, or standing in the holy place. You shouldn't be in there. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Then let them, whether in Judea, flee into the mountains again. Don't even come off your housetop. You need to get out of there. This is the time it's going to be. But wait, there's more. So when is this time? When is Zechariah 14? When are we going to see the building of the temple? When is there going to be an abomination of desolation? When are they going to go to the temple to worship the King? And I believe that that's what's going to happen. They're going to build the temple. I know they're going to build it. It's all through the Bible. And that many people are going to realize that Yeshua is the Messiah. Jew, Gentile, I'm talking Muslims, Christians, and Jews will realize, everyone will realize who is the true Messiah, who is the true Son of God. And they will come to Jerusalem to worship the King. When? When this happens. The temple has to be built, and then here's what it says in Luke 21. You have a lot of signs. Jesus tells you, man, there's going to be all kinds of signs of the end. All those earthquakes, false Christs, false prophets, wars and commotions. All right? Pestilence, diseases, famines, fearful sights, great signs, persecution. They'll lay their hands on you. They'll throw you into prisons. Okay? And then it says this in verse 20. I'm in Luke 21:20. It says, and when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. So here's the events. The temple is going to get built. There's going to be a time of renewal, a time of peace and security, a time then of where people, then all of a sudden these witnesses will start preaching, and then the world will turn against them because they're preaching that Yeshua is the Messiah, that there's only one way, that Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And these two witnesses sent by God will be hated, and they'll try to kill them. And so these guys, these two witnesses, will start sending plagues upon the earth. They have the same power as Elijah and Moses had. They'll be able to stop the rain, send drought. They'll be able to turn the water into blood. They'll send disease and famine throughout the land. And people will realize they are truly messengers from God, but they will hate them. Finally, they will kill them, and their bodies will lay in the streets of Jerusalem for 3.5 days. And then the Lord will raise them from the dead. The whole world will see it when it happens, okay, and begin to realize that these are true messengers of God, and their message of Yeshua was the truth. And you're going to see a transformation like never before. The abomination of desolation. But you're already seeing the armies compassing Israel. These are the days of vengeance. These are the end times. So what you're watching, Trump declaring Jerusalem as the capital, you can't, look, he's just fulfilling biblical prophecy. So we are living now. It's going to get very interesting. And I believe the Lord revealed to me that in the next 7 years, between these two solar eclipses, the Lord said this, you can call this the age of the Antichrist. No, he will not be sitting on top of a throne in the New World Order in these 7 years. But he will be moving himself to the head of the line. He'll be working his way to the front of the line. And he will be building the associations with the 10 kings, the 10 people he's going to choose to be kings. And the temple, I'm telling you, I don't know if the temple's going to get built in these next 7 years, but it would not shock me. I'll just say that. It would not shock me if the temple doesn't get built in these next 7 years. Might not, though. I mean, I'm not in control of that. But I'm just saying, you can see the pieces of the puzzle coming together so rapidly now, so quickly now. So I would think it would behoove us to be ready. Now, after saying all of that, some of you need to believe what Jesus said. Pray that you be worthy to escape the hour of temptation that's coming upon the world. And know this, and Jesus said, no man knows the day nor the hour that the Son of Man cometh. No man knows the day nor the hour. No, not the angels in heaven, not the Son of God, but the Father only. But you can see the day approaching, folks. You can see the day approaching. Are you ready? Give your life to Jesus Christ. Accept him as the Messiah, Yeshua, the Lamb of God. Isaiah 53, that is he. Come to him. Shalom, shalom. Give your life to Christ. We're living in the last days. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem and you'll prosper. During these next period of time, the church is going to rise up like never before. And God's going to bless us like never before. So be ready to help bring in the harvest. I'll see you later today. Don't miss today's live broadcast. It starts at 12 noon Eastern at my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com.